Some people experience neck pain when performing Pilates exercises. When they're lifting their head and shoulders from the floor, it seems that the neck does most of the work. There are lots of things that we can do to help with that. The first is get yourself a towel and fold it lengthways in half and then roll it up really quite tightly, so that instead of it being a fluffy roll, it is a roll that will give us some feedback in our bodies. You're going to place it on the mat and it's going to go below the shoulders around the ribs. So there are my scapula moving. It's going to go below that. With the knees bent, feet flat on the floor, we lie back and the roll is just below the scapula. There are my scapula working. I'm going to interlock my fingers behind my head and I'm going to lower myself to the floor. If this is too much already, it's quite easy to just put a little cushion underneath the head as well. I'm going to stay here for a breath or two, opening and closing my arms. I really want to build up a little bit of sensation around the area where the towel is. Then with the elbows forwards, I'm just going to roll to the left and roll to the right and roll to the left and roll to the right. And slowly I also begin to move myself back there just say a centimetre or so that I have now replaced where the towel was down a little bit further into my ribs. Rolling over onto one side, remove the towel, come back into your normal Pilates start position, and you should have a lot more sensitivity there now so that you can understand that the low ribs should press down and into the floor. And in fact, I've lifted just that piece that was on the towel off the floor so that my tummy muscles are doing the work rather than my neck. The second thing you can do is use your mat just for a moment, just for a few repetitions, so that you can feel once again that these are the muscles that should be doing the work rather than the neck. So you're going to reach your hands up to the ceiling, palms facing to the wall behind you. Take a hold of your mat. Elbows are close once more. And as you lift your head and shoulders, push your head back into the mat. Make sure that you are pushing back into the mat rather than using the mat to crunch your neck too far forward. So you're pushing back into the mat, elbows are forwards, you're using your abdominal muscles, and as if your ears are being lifted up to the ceiling. And you could do about 4 or 5 of those, but stay in the position for a few breaths each time. Remember, don't drag your chin towards your chest. Push your head back into the mat as the mat supports the lift of your head and your shoulders. Finally, it can help to really exaggerate the movement of your ribs. So when we inhale, we can exaggerate that the ribs move outwards. But for this particular exercise, we're more interested in exaggerating the ribs moving inwards on the exhalation. I'm going to use an open mouth for this. So I'm going to breathe out through an open mouth for this one. Back into that start position. When we inhale, we're allowing the ribs to completely expand. When we exhale, use your breath to pull the ribs in, and when the ribs pull in, they also pull down towards your hips. Now we'll add the movement. Inhale, let the ribs expand. Exhale, open your mouth, pull your ribs in and down, and that should get your abdominal muscles working to lift your head and your shoulders. Inhale, taking the ribs out to the side. So we're really exaggerating. Open your mouth, breathe out. Pull your ribs in and down. Inhale, let your ribs really slide out to the sides. And when you breathe out, draw your ribs in towards each other and all the way down towards your toes. Nose looks through your knees rather than up the wall in front of you. So they are 3 things that you can do that can take the pressure off your neck in Pilates exercises and put the pressure where you want it to be, which is into the front of your abdominal muscles.